Okay, I'm here once again with Dr. Dave Webster, and today we're going to be tackling a couple of questions that have been sent in via Twitter from Mr. McCain's class. And the first one, Dave, is from Blaine Rogers, and he asks, if determinism is accepted as truth and free will an illusion, is it right to morally judge actions?
Well, I think that's quite a good question. It's quite a perceptive inquiry, because it asks what happens if we start to chip away at freedom through determinism, through getting rid of your free will or mine, or saying people are determined by a whole bunch of physical and mental factors, which mean they couldn't have done otherwise. So if we couldn't have done otherwise, we're not free. And it seems perverse to blame or praise someone for something they had no choice to do. If you hold a gun to my head and force me under duress of being shot, and I believe you'll pull the trigger, you force me to donate £100 to Oxfam, I can't then really be praised for my charitable donation. You made me. So if something makes you, it's not your fault. So you can't be blamed. So yeah, it's quite a good question that if we accept this as true, don't we start to get rid of all moral judgment? And it's quite a good concern. I think it's something that it's right to worry about, because it strikes at the very heart of our concerns. So initially you might think, yes, if determinism is true, and like on some of the other videos, that's a big if, indeed. But if everything we do is determined and free will is an illusion, I have no free will, then perhaps you shouldn't blame me for bad things I've done, or good things I've done I shouldn't be praised for. But, and it's quite a but as well, that presumes that determinism occludes or gets rid of or eclipses free will, and not everyone agrees that it does. So you might find, for example, in the work of people like David Hume, a version of what is known as compatibilism, where it says that some version of necessity, of things being necessarily caused by the things, a model of determinism in a way, is not actually in conflict with free will, with humans having the freedom to choose good and bad things, but actually is part of it, as the two of them come as a package.
So how does that work?
Well, it's quite... initially it seems counterintuitive, I think, which is what you ask, and I think what underpins that kind of question. But his view that we get in Hume is that actually, of course things are caused. Of course determinism is true. Things don't just happen for no reason. Of course everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Otherwise things would be mad. Suddenly cups would suddenly go off. Like, why is it not doing that? Because of gravity. Why is it moving when it moves? Because of my hand. There was always a reason behind it. There was always a determining set of causes. But of course, on the other hand, consciousness presents itself to us as free. We have the feeling of choosing. It feels like I could punch you, or I could buy you a coffee. It could go either way.
I prefer the coffee.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. But I feel like I could choose. So what's doing the choosing? This is the thing that Hume says is interesting. He says, of course there's determining factors in what you do, but you are one of those factors. Now he doesn't postulate a metaphysical self that sits outside time and space and all those things, but he just says that a person, along with a person made of their wants, desires and passions, is what does the choosing. So you retain free will and don't deny what Hume calls the doctrine of necessity, that things are necessarily caused by their factors. I want to read from you briefly from Baron Stroud's rather good book on Hume, called Hume, oddly enough.
Surprisingly enough, yes.
Yeah. And I thought he put it rather well. He says, so thinking of actions as being done by someone, or as being his, hers or theirs, requires a belief that the actions are the effects of other things that are going on or are true of particular human beings. Or to put it another way, therefore only if the doctrine of necessity is true can a person rightly possess merit or demerit praise or blame for his or indeed her actions, since his or her actions are those that are caused by his or her character, wants, desires, motives, and so on. Everyone who ascribes responsibility must believe in the doctrine of necessity. So he takes the view that in order to believe in responsibility and morally praising or blaming people, we actually need to believe in determinism. We need to think actions are caused by things. It's just in the case of persons, when you're not being threatened or forced physically to press a button or whatever, they're caused by my desires, my wants, by my character. So you would say, yes, that was a caused action when Dave punched me. It was caused, and we will still blame him for it, because what caused it was his violent character, his aggressive person, and his desire to get to the biscuits first, or whatever it might be. So Hume, I think, quite convincingly, or quite persuasively, argues and says, yes, determinism is true, but not necessarily how you think, in that it doesn't undermine free will. So in keeping free will, he cedes some ground to determinism, but keeps human responsibility absolutely at the centre of morality, going so far as to even say that we need determinism in order to actually understand responsibility at all. That's quite powerful.
Thank you.